Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's page is a photograph of my husband and I'm using this white basil cardstock as the background. I'm spritzing up this palette of paints just so that they can settle in to the palette and make the paints wet, while I am using some white gesso on the back of this paper, or on the front of this paper I should say, just to give me more time to work these paints. So the gesso is basically a primer. You pop it down on the paper and it stops the paints or inks or any medium that you're working on soaking straight into the paper, so that you have a little bit of time to work it around and move it where you want it. My gesso is quite thick, so I watered it down a little bit. I'm coming to the end of this pot, but haven't purchased a new one yet. So I'm just going to cut this photograph. I have two separate photographs of my husband, and I've just decided I'm going to use just the one. So I'm getting this red paint, sorry, and I am starting to put some circles on the page here. So the idea that I'm going for is that I'm going to be using these paints to make various circles to represent the snooker balls on the photograph. And so I will be using all of the colours associated with snooker balls. So I will have some white, some black, red, blue, green, and pink and brown and yellow and orange. So I'm just slowly starting to build up the various colours. My camera stopped there, so I didn't get part of that, doing some of those pink ones and the yellow ones. So now I'm doing some of the white. So I'm just filling in these where I want it. So I basically want it to sort of snake or wave along the centre of the page. This is the main embellishment for this page, really. It is all about the snooker. So this page was inspired by the fact that we're in about heading to week 5 of lockdown. Was it week 4? Who knows? But my husband, who likes to play snooker, it's one of his hobbies, of course isn't able to go to the snooker club and play at the moment, and we don't have a snooker table. He had a cue, so he went and bought some snooker balls so that he could practice at home. I'm now coming in with a black pen to outline each one of these circles, and then coming in with a little bit more paint just to make the shapes a little bit better, or where I've put the pen and not gone so close to the painted circle, I'm just filling in that area. But yes, I say again, my husband's not able to go to the snooker hall and practice, so he thought if he uses our dining table and a cloth, puts it down, he can get some snooker balls and he can at least practice some shots. So he keeps stealing my yoga mat and putting it against the table wall so that he can bounce the balls off it. But at least it's keeping him sane and occupied when our dining table is not being used as a dining table or being used as a home office. It's also being used currently as a snooker table. But at least it's a way of keeping the mind and the soul healthy while we live through this unusual peak in the world's history. So yes, as I say, here we're coming in with a little bit more paint just to fill in some of those gaps around between the actual ink and the circle that I drew. And I forgot to do that one. And now I'm coming in and drawing lots of little circles just to fill up the gap. So the idea is that I will come in and paint those in a minute, but I'm going to go around every single one of these circles and fill in the white spaces. So it is going to be a full block of colour, whether that be one of the colours of the snooker balls or of the Derwent charcoal. And it's going to be just a nice wave or a snake that goes across this page, so that this is really the main embellishment of this page. I'm not using much paper layering. I'm not using any ephemera. I will come in with a few ink splatters and a few other things later on, but this is the main body of the decoration of this page is going to be these circles, and I'm liking how it's turning out. I had this thought, it is sort of incorporating what I'm doing with my art journal into my scrapbooking, and it was an idea that I had. Obviously I've got the Derwent pencils, because they're just charcoal, they rub off, so if you get some on your, I find that I've had a little bit on my pinky finger, and of course I've smudged that onto the page, but the good thing about these is that you can just rub that out so that you then have a nice clean line. And I was really pleased how this page has turned out, and really quite happy with the idea. It sort of has turned out exactly as I expected it to, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. So I am just clearing off here a little bit and using this Derwent automated pencil or automatic pencil eraser to rub out the colour that smudged into these tiny little spots, and then I'm just coming in and filling those in with a little bit of colour, again keeping to the colours of the snooker cues, and just trying to make sure that I use a different colour to something that's sat, so the two colours aren't sat next to one another. I have tried to put in a few more reds than any other colour, but I think when you look at it, it looks fairly even, and I am very pleased. The little ones were a little bit annoying. The one thing I would say is that my pen ran, so that was why I did the painting and then used the pen, but of course coming in and doing these little ones, the pen did run a little bit, so if I'm going to do something like this again, I might have to invest in a pen that won't run. So keep coming in here and just drying off all of those. Now, I wanted the red ones to be a little bit more obvious, so I'm coming in with my Shimmers red paint, just so that the red ones are a little bit brighter. Some of them, as they dried, they got lighter in colour, so you couldn't distinguish some of the reds from some of the pinks. So I thought if I used a different medium on top, it would just make them pop a little bit more. So this is a darker pigment red in the Shimmers, and it also gives it a little bit of shimmer when the light hits it the right way, and it just sort of added a better look to the overall image of this page. Just coming in again with the heat gun just to make sure that they are all dry so that I don't end up smudging them. So thinking of putting the picture here, and I think I just need to matte it. I thought it would look quite nice matted on a little bit of black, and so that's what I'm doing here. I did actually, when I printed out the photograph, I printed it out on the wrong side of the picture, so you'd see when I turned the photograph over there to glue it that you could see the same image on the photograph, just on the back side of the photograph, just duller, because I printed that one through my computer this afternoon, but printed it the wrong way around. And so I'm just going to come in here and put some of these little pieces of the signature strips on the paper. I've cut these and fold them over and glue them together so that I can use them instead of using a lot of foam pads, and that just creates that extra little pocket so that I can come in later and put a journaling card. I have some Jane Davenport mermaid markers here, which I am just doing a little bit of splattering on those. I've used the red and the blue. I use the yellow, and I also use a little bit of the green just to add a little bit more dimension to that side. Just wanted it sort of in a little bit of a splash there. And I'm coming in with a Bramble Fox title. This is says good stuff. Now, when I got this one out, I realised that the G had broken off the rest of the letters from the good stuff, but because it's such a high quality product, when you actually glue these down, you really can't tell that it was broken. and it looks just as good as it was meant to. And it's a lovely cursive print here. And the last thing I'm popping on here before I do my journaling is just a few sequins. So I put 3 around the title, I've put 3 in between the snooker balls, and then 3 at the top. And the last thing I wanted to do is to do my journaling, which I'm doing on the black card with a white pen, and just putting in here what I wanted to say about my husband trying to keep sane during quarantine, and the cat's been hidden in the black spot. I've really enjoyed doing this page. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video, and I hope you'll give it a go. And you take care, and I will see you again next week. Thank you. Bye bye.